It's time to get honest. I have a confession to make. I just wanted to be real with you. Most of us, myself included, are still operating like it's 1999. I don't know if that's like part of me being a dinosaur or, okay, so you're telling me you're the productivity queen, but you're not talking about AI. Something's fishy here. Money is just a resource, just like AI is a tool, and it's a matter of how you leverage that resource or that tool. All that to say is like, yes, there is a way to use AI sustainably. Wouldn't it be great to just invest 5 minutes of your time so that you can get 5 hours of it back? I mean, if that sounds too good to be true, hear me out, because I used to think that too. But in today's episode, you are going to hear about why AI is going to play such a huge role in achieving your time freedom, and also a little bit of a confession as to why it's taken me so long to finally speak up about this. Let's begin. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I'm obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. So recently I had this conversation with my business coach and mentor that was just like one of those chats you have, which is like mind blown emoji going absolutely crazy. And his feedback on this subject is actually what inspired this episode. And so just a little disclaimer that this is still very hot off the presses for me to even dive into this world. At the time of this recording, I'm still kind of processing this information. And by the time this episode airs, I'll be much clearer on what I'm doing with this newfound profound revelation and realization. But in the meantime, I just wanted to be real with you. We're going to go deep in the deep end. And I'm almost using this episode to also show myself that this is truly the future of productivity and where we're going. So look, for a bit of context, right? We're 3 to 4 years into the AI revolution. And that I do agree with people who say that it's going to be the single biggest change curve that we as society need to navigate in our lifetime. And most of us, myself included, are still operating like it's 1999. And so there is no time like the present, to get serious. Okay. I can see now how there's so much potential here. And yet the benefits, the facts of actual productivity gains are still to come, because most people don't know how to use AI. They're afraid of it. They have some ethical and safety concerns about it. And there's also just an element of, you don't know what you don't know. And so I'm here to start to shed a little bit of light about this, to bring my voice to the conversation, because by the end of this episode, you will see how AI is actually a tool that you can ethically leverage to get your time back so that you can spend your time doing what you love with who you love and use your precious brain power for the human-only activities rather than the repetitive, minute, low-value tasks that you're currently wasting your time doing. With that in mind, let's dive in. It's time to get honest. I have a confession to make. Little full disclosure moment here. I am a bit of a dinosaur in this space. Okay. So when it comes to AI, I'm going to definitely be the first to put my hand up and be I'm a really late adopter. I still remember the very first day that mom showed me chat, and it was 2020, I think, or so it was just emerging. She's like, oh my God, look at what it can do. And look at these things. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's just like a toy you're playing with. It's so useless. And obviously, fast forward 6 years later, who's laughing now? And I was really reluctant to use it as well, because I think what I saw, and unfortunately, I live in this bubble of coaches and content creators and entrepreneurs. And so a lot of what I'm seeing in the AI space is people using AI to get stuff off their plate for business content creation purposes. And that really rubs me the wrong way, because this podcast is not AI generated. It is me, a real human, speaking to you. It is a real human editing this video. Shout out, Alan, you're the best. It is a real human producing the video. It is a real human producing the social content from the video. It is a real human writing the captions of the social content. Like, I don't know if that's like part of me being a dinosaur, or maybe that's just like my ethics and my worldview and values, but I genuinely believe that we as human beings have so much value to impart, so much creativity to impart, and words, communication, experience, feeling. That's not something that you can outsource to a machine. Well, you can, but you can feel it. And I don't know if I'm just like a delicate little petal and like super sensitive to it, but I literally can feel right away, as like first sentence or like first few seconds of being engaging with a piece of content, and I can tell you whether it's come from a human or not. And I don't know whether that's just me and my sensitivity, but that's kind of the reason behind a lot of the reluctance I had in this, because, you know, I am going to write a handful of books. I have so much respect for creatives and artists and people who create music and pictures and graphic design and all these things. And then you started to see this like wave of people emerging who were using AI to make a quick buck on the internet. And that just shits me. I'm sorry. But like, I remember having a pretty healthy debate with someone about this, who's like, oh, I'm just using it to write a book. And I published a book. I'm an author. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not an author. AI is the author. Okay. Or like, I had another person who has a podcast that is 100% AI generated. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're not a podcast host. Your AI is the podcast host. Like, I don't know. It just feels disrespectful and like a spit in the face to people who are using their precious energy, the divine intelligence that is coming through them, that they are channeling, the wisdom, the lived experience, the words that they have to impart that are actually going to land in someone's heart from human to human, and outsource that to a machine and then put your name on it and say, look at what I wrote. It's just makes me puke. So yeah, like if you're in my world, my podcasts come from me, my newsletters are written by me, all of my emails are written by me, all of my content in some way, shape, or form comes from me. Do we use AI to support some of our workflows? Yeah. Do I use AI to help me with my run-on sentences and when I go on a complete tangent so I can get back on track? Yeah. But I don't outsource everything to it. And so I think, like, as you can tell, I'm really passionate about this subject. I think that's probably part of the reason why I've been so reluctant to go into this space, because I've seen it as a bit of a dark, dirty, polluted, dangerous world. And it's not. Like well, just like anything in life, it's actually what you make of it. Like, I think a lot of people have the same belief around money. It's like, oh, rich people are evil. Well, it's like, no. Like, money is just a resource, just like AI is a tool. And it's a matter of how you leverage that resource or that tool. You can use it to do destructive, terrible things, of course. You can also use it ethically, in alignment, and strategically. And so this is kind of the context as to, first of all, like why it's taken me so long to speak about this, because I can only imagine you're like, okay, so you're telling me you're the productivity queen, but you're not talking about AI. Something's fishy here. That's why. And so I recently had really like a mind-blowing conversation with my coach, and how I'm doing you a disservice by not bringing this into the conversation. And so before we even dive into that sphere, like before I dive into this rabbit hole, because it is a rabbit hole, there's some things that we need to set straight. And so I thought it was really important to set this from the scene and kind of position the fact that yes, AI is going to be instrumental in helping you get your time back. And yet there are some things that you need to be aware of before we start to dig into that space, because AI and productivity, while very easy to confabulate, don't necessarily go hand in hand, because there's an element, and I've spoken about this on the podcast before, of perceived productivity, which is busy work, which is like, unfortunately, what most people are doing right now in their little caves coding their apps, versus actual productivity, which is making momentum on things that actually matter. And there's also a piece that we need to be, that's like super real, And it comes back to my origin story as well around burnout and how, again, if we don't get our ducks in a row and we fall into this busy trap, the false productivity paradigm, it is another super highway to burnout, because you think that you can do more. All of a sudden you take on more workload. All of a sudden you have more responsibility while the system still isn't systeming. So I wanted to share these things with you in advance, both for your benefit and also, to be honest, a little bit selfishly for myself, because I'm so brand new to this. As I said, I'm a dinosaur. I feel like I'm super behind, even though I think, again, that's probably a limiting belief that I have. But it's time. It is time. So today we're going to start to set some foundations, specifically with the lens of AI and productivity. And I'm just going to give you my hot take on some pros and cons, and you can agree with them or you can disagree with them. Like, this is resonance, right? You get to take what resonates and leave the rest. And then we're going to kind of tie it into a pretty little bow and see how that comes together into helping you get your time back, because that's what you're here for. Like, that's probably why you're in my world, unless you're one of my really close friends and family members, for which I say I love you. I'm so grateful that you're still listening to the podcast, and you are amazing. Okay, so AI and productivity. Let's start here first, right? Like, the pros of what I see the potential of AI and productivity is the fact that it can save you so much time on routine tasks, like the repetitive, time-consuming admin issue just wish you could get off your plate and you couldn't have previously. Unfortunately, the flip side of this coin, the con of it, is that most people have no idea where to start. And so I've been speaking to so many of you recently, and I've kind of been getting curious as I explore this space myself. Is like, what have you used to solve this problem? Have you tried AI? And like, I keep on hearing the same thing. It's like, well, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't know what tasks to give it, what prompts to use, what software to use, and how to integrate it all. And oh my God, it's just all too hard and I'm too scared and I don't want to do it. I've got no time. And so we end up back at square one. And so that's sort of kind of what I'm tinkering with, like, oh, if we can eliminate that con, then that would be pretty exciting. But watch this space, because I'm still in the liminal space of the fertile void of whatever this is going to become. So the next piece, which is, I think, is a huge pro, is faster research, right? So a lot of people are leveraging AI instead of your standard search engines now to conduct research, to get answers to their questions, to get a comprehensive picture, from restaurant recommendations to, things that you would need to cite sources for in your PhD. I know people are writing PhDs with AI. It's kind of weird, and that also kind of scares me, which gets me to the con. It is fact checking and hallucination. So unfortunately right now, and I'm not an AI expert, I'll be the first one to put my hand up. I genuinely don't think I know much, probably like 2% of what's out there in the sphere. And I'm the productivity queen. I'm not the AI queen. However, from what I have seen in my own experience of leveraging AI to help me in my business and in my personal life, and also what I'm hearing the experts talk about, is that the hallucination is a real thing. What does that mean? It means that if it doesn't know something, if it doesn't have the answer to your question, it will hallucinate one. It will make one up. It's like, oh, maybe this thing. And which is why, like, it's still so important that you check your facts. Don't just take what it's going to give you and take it for granted. And especially if you're using it to make some damn big decisions, okay? Like, there's definitely an element here, and I found it in our workflows as well, of like it losing track of where we're going, and I'm giving it the prompt and then it does something else. So there's still, we're still in the early days, okay? So kind of hold your horses, hold your expectations, because you don't know what you don't know unless you, like me and my team, have spent days trying to perfect the perfect prompt and get the right workflow in place so that you do get a consistent output, which is what a lot of us use actually now for our podcast production process. Like, that's pretty cool. So that's actually a really great idea. I'm going to just weave that in as an example at the end for you as well. So this brings me to my next kind of pro and con, which is the pro of this AI revolution that we're in, is that it's going to level a lot of skills. So people who were mediocre are now going to be average. And so the bar of average has risen, okay? And it's accessible, obviously, to a lot of people. A lot of people have access to information. No one needs information anymore because you can just check it out in AI, right? The con to that, though, and this is what really scares me, and it especially scares me in my industry, you know, of like online experts, coaches, digital creators, etc., is that now there are more fake experts out there than ever before. Like people think, oh, and this just like, I just got goosebumps all over my body. And I think this is maybe why it's taken me so long to start this conversation and why I had this resistance, because people think that they can call themselves an expert after like reading AI's regurgitated advice on something. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, now I'm a coach on this subject. And it's like, no, you're not. I'm sorry, but where is the lived experience? Where are the tools, the processes, the trials and tribulations that you have spent decades going through so that you can actually accumulate this? And where's the skill set in responsibly and ethically helping people? Like, oh my gosh, it is scary out there. Like, I know it is weirder now more than ever of just like everyone's trying to sell you something and everyone's trying to give you the best AI hack, and there's noise. There's a lot of noise out there, and it's all pretty crap, to be honest. Be careful, because you are where your attention is. And so if your attention's on that noise, then what's happening in your precious mind is it's all over the shop, okay? Which is why like I actually choose not to engage in a lot of that noise. Just don't even go down that rabbit hole. But here's where I'm getting to with this is that, yes, it can help you do research faster, but there's still such a strong element of discernment. And I think now more than ever, it also becomes more important for you to be able to tap into your inner wisdom and your inner knowing when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to choosing the person that you're going to work with, when it comes to the quote unquote expert that whose advice you follow, right? Like whether it is me in the productivity space or it's someone else in nutrition or someone else in exercise, whatever it is, just be discerning. And like, I think this is why, as I mentioned before, it's taken me so long to enter the conversation. I've felt like I didn't belong in that space because I just associated these fake kind of wishy-washy, shiny people with no substance beneath them with it. But I think it's time to get off my high horse. And I can really clearly see now how if I bring in my approach and my worldview and the whole ethos around sustainable productivity and nervous system well-being and the cycles of success, non-linear, exponential ability for you to achieve your biggest, wildest goals, and pair that with the power and the economies of scale that we can get with ethical, responsible use of AI, I think we're going to become unstoppable. Now, again, watch this space. I still genuinely do not know what that's going to look like. By the time this episode airs, you probably will already hear me doing this little song and dance about it. But, you know, I am the planning queen, so I've got to batch these episodes so that I don't have to stress about them at the last minute. Okay. Stay on track, Viktoria. I think the last kind of pro and con that I just wanted to speak on specifically with AI and productivity is that one of the pros of it is that it gives you the capacity to do more. Now that comes with a big red warning sign and a big red flag, which is the con is that you might actually be achieving less. And that brings me back to that earlier piece around like busy work, and like you might feel like you're being really productive because like its job is to make you feel good. It's going to tell you, oh my God, you are so smart. I totally agree with you and you are amazing. And I think the way that you're looking at this is absolutely perfect. Here are the 3 things that I would do differently. Like it's just there to stroke your ego. And it's not the only thing it's there for, but I just want you to be wary that even though it might feel like you're doing more, you're actually achieving less, because then you just stay busy in this false productivity paradigm without actually doing the 5% high leverage tasks and activities that are going to move the dial forward. So that's sort of my take on AI and productivity. And as I mentioned before, I just also wanted to bring it home and speak to burnout specifically, because task expansion is a real thing. Like once this becomes, it already is, but like as it becomes more and more normal in our day-to-day life, there is a real risk of people taking on extra workload outside of your core job. Like it is wild. I see people who have nothing to do with coding, code their own stuff right now. And don't get me wrong, it's cool and it's amazing. And I think if it's aligned with your big picture and your why and your values, great. I want to code some things for my business in the future, but like, I'm not going to be prioritizing that over the actual 5% activities that I know I need to do. There's also the element of context switching and brain fry. Like it is real. The machine is giving you more information to process, and the speed at which it provides you those results can be really overwhelming, that you're just like going from one to the other and just like losing your mental capacity and your energy, which is one of your most precious resources. And the thing that people aren't really speaking about enough, at least in my not so humble opinion, is losing the humanness. I really fear for the people who are using AI as their coach. I fear for the people who are using AI as their therapist. I fear for the people who are using AI as their friend, because we've seen these movies, right? Like surely anyone who's like a 90s kid will remember, I can't remember what movie it was exactly, but it was like this dude who like fell in love with this machine, and then he just completely alienated himself from his real life and was just like hanging out with this machine the whole time. And that's kind of what's happening. And it scares me. So I just kind of wanted to tell you my real honest take at the moment. Yes, I think there's so much potential here. I think that trying to become more productive without using AI is going to be a thing of the past. I also think that there is a ethics and a responsibility that it comes with, that a lot of people aren't really leveraging or utilizing fully, in my humble opinion. And so all that to say is like, yes, there is a way to use AI sustainably in your productivity. Yes, it can also be an absolute time drain and take you down a rabbit hole that is very dangerous. And so, as I said before, I'm no AI expert, okay? Like I'm not here on top of the latest trends and blah, blah, blah. This isn't what this is turning into. I'm still the same planning, efficiency, organization queen that you know and love dearly. And in the background, I'm going to start playing with this. I'm going to start researching this a little bit more and doing the hard work so that you don't have to, so that my team can also be empowered to use AI to take busy work off their plate so they can step up into higher leverage roles as well. And if you're thinking like this is just another fad, yeah, I thought that too, right? I gave you the story of me in 2020. That was 6 years ago. We're now 6 years in, and seeing what it can do and seeing how slow big C corporations that are literally in the top of the top, the very best, right? Like the biggest corporate companies in the world, they're so damn slow to adapt to this thing. It scares me, because when you know how to use AI to get your time back, and you have this in a super simple, digestible, like you don't have to do any of the hard thinking, prompt engineering, any of that stuff. Oh my God, that is going to be your competitive edge, because then you can get your low value activities off your plate. You can systematize and process repeat activities. You can get those million open tabs that are currently running in your brain to decrease down to maybe just like a couple, and have a bit of peace and calm and joy and contentment in your life. So that's what we are here for. This is what we're exploring right now. This is kind of a very on point, a very hot topic. So I hope you enjoyed my little take on AI here and how you can use it. Yes, to get your time back to do what you love responsibly, authentically, and in alignment. And if you want to continue this conversation, make sure that you stick around, because as I said, like this realization is super hot off the presses for me. At the time of the recording of this video, I'm still unsure of exactly the direction this is going to take. And I wanted to take you along for the journey, which is why we're here. So As your little action step for this week, make sure that you check out my website, which is victorialevenberg.com. It's Victoria with a K. Okay, so victorialevenberg.com for the latest for what I'm up to here, because I'm sure I will have posted whatever thing emerges out of this amazing realization and conversation we've had here today into this space. And now for next week, make sure that you stick around, because I'm going to be bringing on one of my amazing friends. He's also in the business space. His name is Joey Freddie Larson. He is an actor, a comedian, and he also coaches leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners for how they can magnetize their audience towards them, how they can make sure that their pitches, their sales, their offers convert successfully. He is an incredible human. It is such a great conversation. I highly recommend you tune in. And in the meantime, have a beautiful week. Bye for now. If you're enjoying this episode, you will love my free newsletter, Flourish Weekly. It is an email that you actually want to read, and you will be the first to hear about new offerings, events, and upcoming episodes of Resonance. The link will be in the show notes below, and you can also sign up through my website, victorialevenberg.com, or by heading to the link in my bio on Instagram at Viktoria Levenberg. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.